Hey guys, what's going on? It's Carter, and in this video, I want to talk about the topic of self-sabotage. I personally believe that this topic, or this idea, is the main reason why most people struggle to see the weight loss results that they're wanting to see. Now, just really quickly before I go into it, I want to quickly share a part of my own journey where self-sabotage has been one of the main reasons why I've struggled to see results. If you're familiar with my journey at all, then obviously you know that I've went from 300 plus pounds, and over the course of 1 to 2 years was able to lose over 140 pounds, and basically achieve my fitness goal that I had set when I was over 300. A lot of people ask me like if it was hard or if I struggled or how I did it, and the truth is that for me, the weight loss portion of my journey has been fairly easy. Now, obviously, it wasn't a walk in the park. Like, there was effort involved. There was some struggle. It required a lot of consistency, a lot of discipline. But the truth is that, at least for me, it was a lot easier than I maybe had thought it would be. And I think it mostly is just because of my personality type. Like, I'm kind of a person who gets addicted to things very easily. And so with weight loss, like, all of my attention went from whatever I was doing to losing weight. And so every decision I made was based around my diet, around exercise, and for a lot of people that's just not a realistic thing to do. But for a 16-year-old kid in high school who didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have a ton of friends, or wasn't involved in a lot of like extracurricular activities, for me it was something that I could invest all this time and effort into it, and obviously it worked out for me. Now, what's interesting is that for me, the hardest part of my weight loss journey up to this point has been maintaining my weight, and not just maintaining, but being able to gain weight and build some muscle. Now, a lot of people lose weight and they're totally confident and happy. Like, they don't really care to build more muscle. They don't really want to have that extra size when they're walking around or whatever. But for me, it has been something that I've wanted to do. I do want to build muscle, and I do want to be bigger than the average person, and I want to be stronger. But what's so interesting is that has been such a difficult process for me. And the reason is because of self-sabotage, honestly. Like, I will get to a point where I'll gain 10 pounds and I'm gaining strength and I'm building muscle, but then like I'll jump on the scale and I'm like 10 pounds heavier and my inches around my waist are going up and I'm like visually not as lean as I used to be, and it's almost like I freak out and all of a sudden start cutting again and start getting lean again. And I've gone through this cycle like 5 or 6 times now over the past like 3 years, and it's all comes back to this thing where I have this long-term goal, but the short-term mindset that I have with gaining weight is not allowing me to stay consistent and stick to what my long-term goals are. And that's all self-sabotage. I'll justify it in the moment. I'll think, oh, well, I'll just go on a mini cut because I gained too much weight. And so then I'll like cut calories and basically just be back at square one. And I never give my body enough time to really see changes. If you're watching this, then you're probably not as worried about gaining weight. You're probably more focused on weight loss because most people who follow me are. But it's the same exact thing no matter what your fitness goal is. For people who are trying to lose weight, the self-sabotaging part of their journey can manifest in a number of ways. One way is through wanting to achieve a specific goal so badly that they're willing to make unrealistic and unsustainable changes to get it. Most people, when they start losing weight, they have this goal of fitting into a certain pant size or wearing a certain dress or weighing a certain amount. And because they're so focused on that goal from the start, really all they want to do is get there as quickly as possible. And that's what leads them to do things like following a 800-calorie a day diet or doing a juice fast. Things that they know, if they sat down and thought about it, they know these things aren't sustainable and they're not going to be beneficial for them in the long run. But in the short term, that self-sabotaging part of their brain is telling them, no, you have to do this because you have to see results as fast as you can, so then you can achieve your goal, and then you can achieve your goal and you'll be happy and all this. And maybe that works for a short period of time. Maybe they lose 20 or so pounds in the first 3 to 6 months of doing that. But then ultimately it reaches that point, maybe a year later, where they're back to where they started. And it's because what they were trying to do was just unrealistic. And that's sort of why people go through these stages of yo-yoing up and down, because every time they start a diet, they're not worried about building habits or what can they do in the long run or making lifestyle changes. They're just focused on achieving that one goal. Another way I see people self-sabotaging themselves is through not being totally honest with what they're eating. Now, this is something that you know, I see a lot of the time that's hard to accept. You know, people are coming to me because they aren't losing weight and they don't know why, and I ask them about their diet and they'll say, well, I'm eating super healthy. Like, my diet is super clean, I'm not eating, I'm not drinking pop anymore, or whatever. And I say, okay, well, how many calories are you eating? And they're like, well, I don't really count calories because, you know, I'm eating healthy and I don't really think I need to. And then I say, okay, well, how about you send me a log of what you're eating for a week, and then let's go through it. And then they'll send me their log, and then like we'll go through it, and then they realize, oh wow, I'm eating like way more calories than I realized I'm eating. And that's just one way of doing it. And then another thing is, some people, they may be tracking their calories or they may be watching their nutrition during the week, but then on the weekend, they sort of get into a mode where they feel like they need to treat themselves, or that they deserve to enjoy themselves for the hard work that they put in. Now listen, I'm all for you know, enjoying yourself on the weekend and occasionally overeating, but a lot of people make it this thing where it's a routine, where Monday through Thursday they're on point, they're eating their calorie targets, and then on Friday they go out with friends, and then they're drinking beers and eating pizza, and they're like, oh crap, and then on Saturday morning they go to the gym and they work it all off and they feel good about themselves, and then Saturday night they do it again, and then Sunday they're like, oh no, I'm gonna go work it off on the gym again, and then like Sunday night they prep all their meals for Monday through Thursday, and it's just this repetitive cycle where at the end of the week, it's, you know, even though they were good on those 4 days, those 3 days of just going off the deep end are slowing them down and kind of creating like a net zero in terms of creating a calorie deficit to lose weight. And for a lot of people, you know, it comes down to the fact where they feel like it's not fair. You know, like all these other people can eat these foods and be fine or whatever. And I think that whenever I hear that, I always say, well, think about what most people are doing. Like, are most people where they want to be with their weight? Are most people feeling healthy? Are they at a healthy body weight? Some people are. Some people are like able to naturally regulate how much they're eating, and they can go out and they can eat 2.5 slices of pizza and be like, my body is full, I'm completely satiated and I don't need any more pizza. But for a lot of people, especially if you're watching this and you're struggling with your weight, you need to remember that, or need to realize that that's probably not you. You know, you're somebody who probably struggles with moderation, and you struggle with portion control, and because of that, you need to focus on implementing strategies that are going to help you stay consistent with eating in that calorie deficit and sticking with your diet. And obviously that could be a whole nother video in terms of like what strategies you could apply and everything like that, but that was just another example of self-sabotage, where you can get into that mindset of, because you're doing so good, I'm going to kind of be bad on the weekend, and that can obviously cause a host of issues later down the line. All this to say, you know, if you're not seeing the results that you want to see, and you feel like you're really putting in the work and you're really trying hard, and you feel like, you know, it's not a lack of discipline or a lack of structure, I just encourage you to take a minute just to really dig deep and really ask yourself, where am I coming from? Like, what are my goals? Like, why am I doing this specific diet? Like, am I focused on the long term? Am I focused on creating sustainable changes? Or am I focused on achieving this goal so badly? And do I want to achieve it so badly that I am, you know, making unrealistic changes? And if I actually look at it, you know, I'm not being as consistent as I think I'm being, or is my weekend overeating, you know, contributing to me not seeing the results I want to see? And I think that if you're honest with yourself in that, and you really start to build strategies around the areas you know you struggle with, that's where you can see changes. So I hope this video was helpful. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.